there is so much more at stake than just this present or people's temporary pride.
Yeah.
Like, there are actual lives at stake. There are swaths of lives, families who are just like in limbo right now.
Right.
And America, like we just had our first ever Ruptak family reunion. Never knew where I was from. Found out that my great-great-grandparents immigrated from Yugoslavia into Ellis Island in like 1905.
Right.
And like I got to see the Ellis Island stamp.
Fascinating.
And it was like, this is such a beautiful thing, and it's just so much like it's just so much hope and so much potential, and that's what everybody should continue. Like the fact that those core founding elements of America are currently unreachable for people who are trying to like have a better life here. I want to see that change. I want to see it change soon.
Well, we're a nation of immigrants, and just the fact that you know where your family came from and when just drives that point home. And when I'll have conversations with the quote-unquote other side, you talk to people who say, well, yes, but my ancestors came here legally. And I don't think they understand that what it meant to come here legally was to go to Ellis Island and write your name down. So,
and just people who don't have the concept of inflation or like the, how society evolves, like people who are they live, eat, sleep, and breathe the Second Amendment. It's like, 50 caliber machine guns that you can buy from Big Five Sporting Goods didn't exist when this was written,
Oh,
like,
yeah. Well, we could go gun control as a whole other topic.
Aaron, you're going to have me on every week, right?
I don't know how we can do this weekly, but I love talking to you, Anthony. Let's do continuous conversations.
There's so much to unpack here in this country.
But to stick with that immigrant statement, though, when people talk about, I just wish they would come here legally, I think that maybe that's where we can glimpse the humanity of how we do maybe bring back some of those family members or community members or friends, or my program's called Your Neighbor Speaking, and everyone is my neighbor. So how do I get my neighbors who don't know that they're upholding racism, don't understand that there's a Holocaust going on, and I use the word, there are people being put in concentration camps who have committed no crimes. The press is being attacked. Our organizations and institutions of higher learning are under attack. All the things that led up as a preamble to the original Holocaust that I pledged to guard against when I met with a Holocaust survivor are happening now. So how do we persuade someone that they're on the wrong side of history when they say things like, well, these immigrants just need to come here legally? Maybe the way to say it is, well, do you know that when did your ancestors come here? When they came, there weren't these laws. Or some of these laws have been made to keep the Chinese out of the country in the 1800s, as we saw happen. Some of these new laws are specifically being targeted to make it so that legal migration isn't an option. Like I mentioned about people who come from Guatemala. They go to the border town, they meet with an attorney, they say, I am going to go into the United States because my life in my country is under threat and I'm seeking asylum. They go, you will most likely be detained, and they say, I believe in America. I'm going to come in anyways. That person entered legally, and for them to be put into a concentration camp for months or even years and to be separated from their family is unconscionable. Yep. And I believe it's un-American and, as we said before, illegal. So somehow I hope that we can find ways to persuade our neighbors where the center of America is that's being missed because this con artist has brought out the worst in so many people. But beyond that, if we can't change them, we have to work on building our own communities and uniting ourselves so that we can get some power back in the next elections.
That is very well said. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
But anything else you wanted to add about what you think are some of the actions that we can take or what we can do to help fight for the rights, as you talk about the refugees and the immigrants, aside from here in Denver locally, supporting Mango House, supporting your scout troop?
I think everybody has a responsibility these days to understand the weight of their potential. I'm a firm believer of that you should, in any opportunity with any cashier, any person that you're working with, any service worker, first of all, just be as kind as you can. Like make whoever you interact with, make their day. Like better if you can. As far as like important things, like what can you do? Like the world is so crazy. How do you just like turn the chaos down and focus? It's really difficult. I would say what I did, like write out a list of 5 or whatever topics that injustices as you perceive them that are happening in the world. Hone it down to one. Focus your energy on something where you know that your time will be spent for the betterment of somebody else's living situation.
I think that is a great assignment.
Yeah.
We should all go home and treat that like homework.
And it can feel so overwhelming, and of course we all have our own. We're all scraping to get by here. But if you're an artist, if you're a musician, a writer, a filmmaker, seek out those who are hurting the most by no making of their own. People who are getting screwed by the situation of the world. Tell their story. Find how you can help their situation. Use your platform. Use your paintbrush. Use your chords to bring to light pains that are happening right now, things that can be changed, areas where there is room for growth, room for hope, room for work and connection. I think if we all just like take the thing that we're passionate about and try and extend it a little bit further so that it helps someone else, just like it's a super Christian fundamental, just trying to be as
it's also a humanistic value too.
Humanistic
for
value.
Secular humanists and Christians can come together
absolutely.
right there on that.
There's so much good you can spread in other people's lives with not that much work. Like it doesn't take that much, and it actually feeds your soul and your whole being to like help somebody else out.
And it repairs our communities and gives hopes in these dark, divided times.
Yeah. And finally, I would just lastly say, and I've written a few songs about this recently, just it's constantly on my mind. But like
that was going to be my transition to you as a musician yourself. How has this influenced your art?
Recognizing, just confronting your privilege, identifying your privilege, looking at what it is, identifying how it sets you above people who have less privilege. Find that, call it out, bring it to light, take responsibility for the privilege that you have in any fashion that it may be.
Yeah.
And
lend it to those causes or that one cause that you focus on.
Yeah. Yeah. Like me being a straight white 28-year-old male in America, like I can either be a force of a lot of positive change, or I can be the most damaging, deadly, divisive weapon that exists.
Or you could even just be a block to progress happening.
Yeah, you could
open those
that
doors.
Is, and I would say that that's the most common thing that people find themselves doing, because it's the easiest, it's the most comfortable, and it's the least.
It's subliminal.
It's it's very easy to like look at the world today and like be a young person who has convictions and who like does know like this is right, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to look at the chaos of everything and be like, hands up, I'm out. Like,
that's what they want us to do.
That's what they want you to do. And like I know
power.
So many people who are my age who didn't vote in this gubernatorial election that we just had this week. People who I am constantly bugging with Facebook events for fundraisers.
There are more of us than anyone.
It takes
or
so
more of
little
you, I should say.
time to vote.
We're different generations. I think I'm the end of X, and you're up in the millennials. But there's more of you. If all of your peers and my peers get together and unite with our values and get out there, and I'm not going to say vote for the best candidate. I am going to say, in my opinion, vote for the Democrat because it's a strategic move to do. Yeah. We can flip the Senate, flip the House, flip the White House, and enact legislative change. And then also just on the school board level, we just got Tay Anderson in. Congratulations to Tay Anderson.
Win?
Tay won the at-large district seat. He's a 21-year-old activist.
Tay, if you're listening to this, Heck yeah, man.
Yes. So you can make a difference if you go out. You can do things on your school board or on your city council level, and start enacting policy change. So I love that. Be involved, be active, vote, and of course, if you're an artist, like you said, use your platform to share your message.
Yeah.
Use your privilege to give a hand up to those who don't have it. I love everything you're saying, and of course, enact kindness in your daily life. I have to ask you a very direct music question now to bring it back to your project, because again, we are here talking about your convictions as an artist and as a musician, the politics and the social justice issues that inform you and how it works into your art. Are there any songs now that you would say are either literal or maybe just kind of more spiritual or abstract inclusions of this new realization of being politically active? Do you have any songs that are protest songs or songs that deal with these issues? And can you highlight some of those for us?
My songs or yeah.
That something you've written.
Yeah, it's I wrote a song recently called Clementines, which I was so to the Scouts. We go out once a month. We take these kids from Syria, Yemen, Congo, Nepal out camping. And we on a recent trip, we took them all out to Jackson Lake. And so it's northern Colorado, kind of out in the sticks. You get out of the little blue dot of Denver, and you don't go far before you start seeing farmers who have used their acreage to erect their own Donald Trump billboards of support, you know.
How nauseating.
Yeah, and so I was in this Ford Econoline with 18 kids who are speaking 6 different languages and
Sounds
playing
like the best place to
music
be.
through 4 different Bluetooth speakers.
Sounds like heaven.
So much heaven, and so we're driving.
Sounds like America.
Yeah.
As it should be.
And so we actually we confront and deal with blatant racism from other campers or other troops whenever we're on campouts. It's like a clock. Like you can pretty much count on there being a fight just because we got a bunch of black kids running around. Something's going to upset somebody.
They're going to come out and call the police on you.
Yeah, pretty much.
What are you kids doing? The sort of things, again, that when you're growing up white and you're doing normal daily activities, it is privileged to not recognize that not everyone gets to just move freely through space.
Yeah, being a screaming kid, if you're white, is a lot safer than being a screaming kid if you're any other color.
Yeah.
And so we're driving. We had dealt with some racist adjacent campers. It was already this heavy trip. We're driving back down, and we're driving past this massive billboard that says, "God bless the American flag. God bless President Donald J. Trump." And there's this like old rusted out classic car sitting at the bottom of the sign with like a Trump 2020 sign in the back, and all of the kids just like raise up the middle finger and they start screaming, "Fuck you!" This billboard in the middle.
Let it
of
out. Tell us how you really feel.
And it's this wonderful moment. But like I wrote a lyric that was just like monuments to America. This truck, right? This rusted out old world truck, rusted through, but propped up tall, holding on to hells that won't dissolve. And
that is an extended metaphor.
Yeah, and the whole song, it's this laundry list of things going on in America, just line after line of things happening here, and like it. You know, I'm trying to say a lot by just stating, like one of the verses opens up with arm the elementary schools, you know, and all I'm saying is this is a thing that's happening right now, and I don't have to give you any opinion on it. Like, we're arming the schools.
Do with that information what you will.
Exactly.
And what I do with that is I am shocked, outraged, and appalled.
Right.
Yeah.
So I am trying
and
to
saddened.
Write things that are calling out just these apocalyptic human rights violations that we're watching and living through every day, and just like the world just keeps it feels a lot like it's continuing to sink into this like irreparable dark place, but I that fills me with a lot of hope, because it makes me feel like we're on the brink of something big.
Look at the kids you're taking out to have their first camping experiences,
Yeah.
and all of those languages melding together
Yeah.
as America is, has been, should be, and I hope always will be.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for your time, your activism, your volunteer work, and your music. Can you let our viewers and listeners know where they can hear that song Clementine or any of your other music, and if you have any shows coming up, and some of your online platforms for folks who want to follow you?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Aaron, for having me. It was really wonderful to see you and hang out.
Yeah.
So the Clementine song is a new song. It's not studio recorded yet, but you can find it on Free Music for Free People TV. That's a YouTube channel that Mona
This channel
does.
right here?
It's this channel right here. And you can find Mona and her crew came into my home and recorded me playing a few acoustic versions of some of my new songs, and you can hear a song I wrote about white privilege. You can hear this Clementine song about the Alabama abortion vote, the refugee kids, like the conflict in Syria. Like, I'm trying to write words that directly tie to everyday life in America, but it's tying these days to like the historical stuff that's happening right now that we're a part of, and we can influence, and that we can change and affect. And I implore everyone out there to not sit idly by as history happens to you.
Well said.
Be a part of it. Don't just let it happen to you. Like, you have a voice. If there's a small election that you feel like your importance is, so small, it's so much greater than you think.
Yeah.
And if you want to find my music, just Google Anthony Ruptak. It's
Ruptak.
Yeah, it's all there.
All right. Well, use your power, use your platform, and use your privilege. Thanks again for coming in. I'm Aaron Ukulele Loki Johnson. This is Your Neighbor Speaking, brought to you by Free People TV, which is the brainchild of our producer, Mona Magno, also known as Monalicious. Thanks for coming in. Tune in here. Check out my Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube of Ukulele Loki and Your Neighbor Speaking. Like and subscribe here to Free People TV. Thanks for joining us. And we'll be back with more artists and members of the music community telling the stories that matter to them.